Hello, my name's Ben.
And my name is Josh.
And welcome back to FPL Graduates, and welcome back to another game week preview from what has been a week of variance, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely two sides of the spectrum here with Ben and me. We'll be going through our teams from Game Week 22 and also talking about Game Week 23. Obviously, it's just throwing up a lot of debate right now with who to captain, what players to bring in. No Mo Salah. So it's making captaincy an interesting decision, as we saw in Game Week 22. Hey, Ben?
Yeah, very, very interesting indeed. We're going to get straight into it, and we're going to go for Josh's team first and how he did this week. Josh, how did you do?
Absolutely awful. We're not going to lie about it. So yeah, we had a big rank drop this week of 13k. It doesn't sound big, but obviously at the higher ranks, it is a lot bigger. It's like nearly a 70% drop. So yeah, I had 51 overall with the -4 off 55. Brought in Trossard and Ronaldo this week, so that barely paid for my -4. De Gea in net. Not sure how he didn't keep a clean sheet, to be honest, in either one of those games. He absolutely saved United for for the majority of the game. But an 8-pointer, 4 points either way when he's not kept a clean sheet is really, really good anyway. Trent with 10, as expected. A lot of people free-hitted this week and took the likes of Trent and Cancelo out because only had single game week fixtures. And then they both return and combine 21 points. It's absolutely massive. Alonso, Chelsea just so poor right now. They have been for a lot of game weeks. And for me, I've got Reece James still on my bench from that injury. Just haven't managed to take him out. So they blank, I think, in 3 of the next 5 game weeks. So they both need to go sooner rather than later. Trossard in. Again, disappointing. He got benched in the second game against Chelsea. It was one of those punts that are just like, it could go so well. I brought in Trossard earlier this season, I think before my wildcard, and it paid off. This time, not so much. I think he's one of like the only Brighton attackers not to return, pretty much, with obviously Malpai returning, which is disappointing. Same with Jota, Minamino, Oxlade-Chamberlain, those sort of guys getting returns, but then the main man who's left, Jota, getting no returns. It is quite annoying. Bernardo Silva back practically a CDM at this stage when De Bruyne is playing deeper than Rodri at times. So he, again, would be someone that I'd love to get out, but there's been so many other fires to put out, which is why he's sitting on my team. Lucas Moura, disappointed that they lost the double with Arsenal. Obviously, it got postponed. And then, obviously, last night, Bruyne comes on and scores 2. Moura's gone and done nothing. It's really disappointing with that pick. But, again, someone similar to Trossard, like, on another day, this guy can haul massively, but other than that, he tends to be very, very small purple patches. Jarrod Bowen, as always, getting some returns. His ownership's through the roof at the minute. I only had a return from players over 80% effective ownership this week, so hence the big rank drop, and we're down at 30k. Ronaldo captain, it was just the worst part of the game week, to be honest. It really was the lesser of two evils. I was speaking to you, Ben, on the Friday. We heard Ronaldo had an injury from the Express, and then we heard Ralph said, no, he's fine. Then Ralph lied about saying he's fine, and obviously he wasn't in the team for Villa, only played 70 minutes against Brentford, resulting in a 4-pointer from Ronaldo in a double game week where you got, as you'll see, Bruno, was it like a 46-pointer? So that decision alone is a 42-point swing. Like that, it was similar to the Kai Havertz Salah sort of story you saw earlier in the season. If you went obviously differential that time, you got burnt. If you went non-differential this time, you got burnt. So you can always have these decisions throughout the season. Dennis as well, disappointed with the Watford lads. Obviously, one fixture postponed as well. Only a 2-pointer against Newcastle, which was disappointing. And then we had Backman, obviously, is out of favour now. Foster's back. Ollie Watkins, looking forward to owning him in the next couple of weeks. Villa looking good, and they've got some good fixtures as well. Same with Tierney. Obviously, Burnley this week. Hopefully that game goes ahead. And looking a little bit more promising going forward. But yeah, an absolutely awful game week for me. What is your thoughts, Ben?
Ouch. In terms of the team, like, it's not a bad game week, like team in general, if, Bruno doesn't pop off. Like, it's one of them weeks where, the double game week players just didn't live up to it. I think only 5 players that doubled actually scored more than 10 points, which is pretty mental. to say the least. And yeah, like even some of the other sort of decisions that you've had, like De Gea, he's been unlucky not to keep a clean sheet there. I didn't watch the game, but I saw Man United conceded pretty late on to Brentford. So, you know, there's those other couple of decisions that are just not gone your way this time. And yeah, it's one of those ones. It's going to be one to take on the chin and sort of move forward and try and attack these game weeks to come up.
Yeah, exactly. It swings and roundabouts. You get a bit of luck here and then. You get a bit of misfortune. So you just got to take it on the chin, as you said. Captaincy decisions when Salah's not there are crucial. So we'll be talking about that more in depth later on in the video. I know a lot of people are asking who are we captain and stuff. So we'll definitely go through that a little bit later on. Do you want to move on to your team, Ben?
Yeah, let's move on to mine, which was a little bit better, to say the least. So I finished on 90 points for this game week, and wow, what a game week that was. It single-handedly took me above Josh in overall rank for, I think, possibly the first time this season.
Yeah.
We've been battling it out. We've been grinding it out down sort of in the lower ranks, and now we've sort of hit 25k in the world, which I'm buzzing with. Absolutely fantastic. So in goal, Ben Foster. Again, disappointed with those cancellations. If those fixtures don't get cancelled, I hit 100 points for the first time this season. So it's a bit frustrating, but, you know, 2 points, we'll move on with that, you know. Rudiger, again, a bit disappointing that he didn't keep a clean sheet in either of those games. I mean, in that City game, they were defending for their lives and probably, yes, should have conceded, but at one point, I was kind of looking at it and going, this could scream of sort of like a 0-0, really frustrating day for City. But it turned out that Cancelo got the assist for the De Bruyne goal. It's one of them ones where it's an assist, but it's like, doesn't create the goal at all. But we take them nonetheless. Like Cancelo was a little bit lower owned than he usually is because a lot of people who were free hitting took out Cancelo and Trent Alexander-Arnold to fit in those double game weekers. Just goes to show, like, the guys who are essential in FPL are essential for a reason, even if there is a double game week. Another essential man at the moment, Jared Bowen, getting points as per usual. I mean, the last few weeks he's been on fire. Everyone's got him in. So you're not making too much rank at the moment with him. Jota, very disappointed in that he didn't score more points. Same with Damari Gray, really. I mean, he's probably one of the biggest mistakes of the season, and I've gained a lot of rank over recent weeks with him in my team, which is crazy. Like Josh touched on with Trossard, disappointing. I was lean, like the options that I wanted to go for. I wanted to go for De Bruyne. I held it off a week because it was Chelsea that they were playing, and I thought, you know, maybe they could keep a clean sheet. They didn't, so that one kind of stings just a little bit. But yeah, like the other transfer of the week, can't complain at all. Bruno Fernandes, wow, 46 points in total. Back-to-back 40-plus points from my captain. It's crazy. And then up top, King, yes, disappointing. But, you know, it's one of them ones. And on the bench, made the right bench decisions in the end. Well, I could have gained 1 point out of it if I didn't play Regulon, but it is what it is. Watkins, I'm happy to own him for the next few weeks. Josh, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the glaring obvious is that you got your captaincy right. And with you, obviously, we'll discuss it on Friday. You didn't even hesitate with Bruno. He was straight in there over Ronaldo, and it was the right decision in the end. I don't think anyone really would have called him getting 4 returns in those two games. Like beforehand, his form, there was no form there. There was nothing. He sort of backed it, and fair play. You sort of deserve it. Like all these people getting the Bruno captain hauls, they deserve it for backing Bruno over Ronaldo. Like a lot of people didn't do that. It weren't just me who got burnt. He was effective ownership over 100% Ronaldo. So it could have gone a lot of different ways, but fair play. It's a huge haul. And I think your team going forward, it looks really decent as well.
Yeah, like I've got a couple of sort of plans that I want to put in place. I'm obviously looking ahead, and I've mentioned De Bruyne. I'm 99% sure that I'm going to bring him in for Trossard. It gives me those 2 premiums in midfield and allows that easy route back to Salah. I could pick Fernandes or De Bruyne. Like Fernandes could easily pick up a good bit of form now, and with the fixtures, they're fantastic. And De Bruyne's in there as well. Like I think he's a good at least punt until Salah's back. So's Fernandes right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I can set up this team. It's only Rudiger really that I need to get out right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think the Chelsea assets have long surpassed their sell-by date, that's for sure. And also with De Bruyne, City's next 3 are just unbelievable. Mo Salah in Egypt have Ivory Coast in the round of 16 of the AFCON. So that's a very difficult fixture for them. It'll be interesting to see if he gets knocked out in that, he should be back for game week 24. So, that's a week away pretty much. So that'll be pretty awesome for all of us who are struggling without perma-captain and Salah all season long.
Yeah, it's one of them ones where, if he gets to semi-finals, I think that he misses the game week 24 because purely you got like the third place playoff and the final and what have you.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's my plans for next week. Sort of Trossard out, De Bruyne in, Rudiger out, and then I'm probably looking at someone like Luca Dean or Matty Cash if that Villa double game week gets announced. If it doesn't, I might be teetering and not sure who to pick in that defence. Could even go for a City triple up, really. Just depends which City player I want to go with. It's a bit of a tough decision, but I'm sure, Diaz had a bit of a rest. He'd probably get a run in the team again. I'm not too sure who else you'd sort of look to have on your radar in terms of City defence.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure in terms of rotation. We've seen like Nathan Ake play left back. We've seen obviously Stones is now back into the team. So picking one of those, other than obviously the obvious with Cancelo, is going to be tough. And is it going to be worth it if they're going to get rotated? For example, like Diaz, he's like over 6 million. You could definitely use a bit of that budget elsewhere. We'll go into some questions quickly. Leeds United fan asks, is there no double game week this week? Do you want to just touch on that as you mentioned it 2 minutes ago, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of waiting at the moment for the announcement. I doubt that they'll announce one after the game week sort of closes and the deadline finishes. So we should hopefully, if there is a double game week, know about it before tomorrow evening.
Yeah, and of course, follow us on Twitter and Instagram if you want to hear the latest in terms of double game weeks and stuff like that. We usually post it pretty much as soon as it happens. Alamo Guesthouse is asking a replacement for Son. I think you touched on the main man at the minute to go for, Kevin De Bruyne. Would you not consider maybe a Phil Foden in there as well if he's playing?
Yeah, I think, for value, he's probably a bit better. But I really like De Bruyne at the moment. His form's just showing that he's a key man again at City. And he's almost had his pre-season now at the start of the season, and he's sort of getting into his full flow. So I think to discount De Bruyne would be silly if you had the money.
Yeah, definitely. If you can't afford De Bruyne, by all means, definitely go for Foden. His expected goal involvements per 90 when he's played for City is unbelievable. But like you said, De Bruyne's form right now is top-notch. Chloe is asking here, sell Sancho and Kane for Kevin De Bruyne and Watkins. What's your thoughts of that one?
I think if the Villa double game week gets announced, then that's definitely a sensible move to make. Although you've got to be aware, Harry Kane has looked very good the last couple of games. He seems to be sort of finding his form again. And again, similar to De Bruyne, it's almost like Kane's had his pre-season now at the start of the season. He's sort of getting into the full flow of things. So I'd probably keep an eye out for Kane. But if that double game week gets announced, I mean, it's too good to ignore.
Yeah, especially with Kane. Kane had so many chances last night. He missed a few, but he still got quite a lot of FPL returns. It's just all that matters at the end of the day. Right Wings here is asking Salah and Lucas to De Bruyne and Coutinho for no hit, which is surprising because everyone seems to be hitting week after week at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, if he's still got Salah in right now, my question is it even worth bringing him out now when he could only be 1 week out? A lot of us brought him out sort of last week, the week before that. And we are all already looking at ways to bring Salah back into our FPL team. So at this point, I'd question whether it would be worth doing that transfer. If you really want to attack those game weeks, short term, then by all means go ahead and do it. But you're kind of booking in your transfer already for next week.
Yeah, Christian's asking what's our overall ranks now. So I'm at 30k, just sat around there, and are you 25?
Yeah, I'm at 25k now.
And there's only 5 points that separate us. So obviously it is right in a lot of the ranks, to be fair. there's not a lot of points separating quite big jumps. So keep at it. I think a lot of people seem quite down if they captain Ronaldo this week, but hey, it's another game week coming and a lot more players to get involved with. I think for me this week in terms of transfers, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and avoid taking a hit though, because I think in recent weeks, it's just not really paid off as much as it should. So for me, looking at Foden, looking at maybe a City defender, looking at Digne, there could be a lot of different options where I go down, but obviously we'll be posting that as and when it happens tomorrow with our transfers before the deadline. Is St. Maximin a good differential? That new Newcastle feeling. Would you go with St. Maximin in his Gucci headband?
Probably not. I think still, like, even if Newcastle do get a lot of good players in and they look very tempting, like if they do bring in the players they're sort of linked with, they still got a little bit of time to gel, and you've got to expect that with a lot of new players coming in. So yes, so Maximan's a good player. For FPL, I'd probably say there's better options in that price bracket and up top as well.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up this question here because obviously I've said on the thumbnail that we'll be talking about wildcards. Have you thought about wildcarding any time soon? And what would your reasons for or against wildcarding at the minute?
So I'd say for wildcarding, you know what? I can't even provide a good reason why. I think it's a good idea. I think your team would have to be severely in the mud to use it now. I think going forwards, like you've got to be looking 28 to 30 to use that wild card and sort of take advantage of the fixture swings and that sort of thing. I think everyone is sort of 2 or 3 players off having an ideal team and a really, really strong team right now. And I think further along the line, you might need 4 or 5 moves to get to that template because it's going to shift, and we know it's going to. So I'd probably save the wild card if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about it. Obviously, when you have a bad game, you have to assess. And for me, looking at my team personally, I think the fixtures are still there. The players that I've got have been performing, just maybe not in the same game week. So yeah, I think I'll try and hold off, as Ben mentions. There's a big fixture swing. There's loads of doubles still to come, loads of blanks still to come. So I think having that in your back pocket is probably more important. I'd even suggest probably taking a couple of hits if you need to get those key assets in, especially with Salah coming back potentially next week. It'll be an interesting one to move to. We're going to fire through a few more questions. Digne in for Soufal or replace Lucas Moura. What is your thoughts, Ben?
I would say Digne in for Soufal. I think Moura could always get that attacking return, especially with Son out right now. And I think Soufal, like the West Ham defence, it's a very leaky defence considering. We all brought him in for the double game week, and I think that's that. Like he was on my West Ham defender was on my bench this week, and they conceded 3 to Leeds. So I'd probably look at replacing Soufal. Yeah,
I think Digne is going to be quite a high-owned asset. Obviously, new transfer, so everyone's going to be looking towards him. Bruno or KDB? If you had to pick one, Ben, who would you lean towards?
Bruno. No. Sorry, no. Just thinking from, the memories of the 46 points. It's so fresh in my mind. For the fixtures, I'll go KDB, and I think he looks a bit better than Bruno. Some of the returns that we got were a bit dodgy.
Yeah, Emmy dropping the ball. He's had a good finish for a second. Some of the assists as well. But yeah, he's been playing well. I think the new system's suiting Bruno more. Him previously in that 4-2-2, too far out wide, couldn't really get involved in the game enough. Deck Smith is asking, is it time to move off Jota? To be honest, I was thinking about it the same. I'm really struggling to weigh up why he is owned by that many people. He's like, 80% ownership, Jota. He hasn't really had too many returns, at least not huge hauls like we usually assume with Jota, and that's why he is so high effective ownership. And it surprises me because when he's out of the team and Firmino's in, Firmino's ownership's nowhere near the levels of Jota. So what's your thoughts on Jota at the minute? Obviously, he's the main man for Liverpool. He's playing tonight as well in the Carabao Cup. Would you look to offload him in the near-distant future?
No, because especially when Salah comes back, he only gets better as an asset, in my opinion. I think at the price point that he's at, and a lot of people have value tied up in him. If you sell him, you're going to struggle to get him back in with the value, because I don't think his ownership's going to be dropping anytime soon.
No, it's definitely a valid point. Bench Antonio or Cody. What's your thoughts on Wolves' defence before you answer that? Is that something you're looking to target? Obviously, they've been playing unbelievably well this season.
I mean, it's a tough decision, this one. Like, bench Antonio or Cody. West Ham have Manchester United this week, is that right?
Yeah.
And Wolves have... Who do Wolves have this week? I mean...
I'm having a look now.
Okay.
Wolves have Brentford.
Yeah, so
away from home.
It's a difficult decision, really. I think you probably want to attack the game week, so I'd probably go for Antonio, just because that United defence doesn't convince me at all. And yeah, Brentford at home, they can score against anyone. We've seen that before, and we'll probably see it again. Yes, the Wolves defence is really good, but Cody as first bench is a really strong option.
Yeah, I think always play the attacker is something that I've learnt with FPL. Would you rather have Kane or Bruno?
Bruno.
I would agree right now. Man United's fixtures are still really, really good. Like
I think it's the fact that they changed formation, right? They changed the formation, and Bruno, his stats from last night are ridiculous. Like the amount of ball progressions that he's producing right now, and the amount of chances that he's creating. Like, it reminds me of last year's Bruno, and hopefully we see like a good return to form from him and lots of returns.
Yeah, it's interesting. We'll have a look through the fixtures now. Obviously, it is a Friday deadline tomorrow night. Watford versus Norwich at 8. What's your thoughts on the Watford boys at the minute?
It's a difficult one. Like the Watford boys, I think you've got to have one in, because going forwards, they're just going to try and outscore everyone. Defensively, Ben Foster, I'm not sure I probably would want to have him right now. I've got him, and I'm kind of like, Watford don't really keep clean sheets, so they just try and score. So I definitely have one of the Watford boys in. It's just which one you want to go for, really, whether it's King or Dennis.
Yeah, spreadsheet or grass. Norwich are interesting as well, I think, because under Dean Smith, they seem to be playing a lot better. Obviously, got that win against Everton. Speaking of Everton, they play in Villa at 12:30. No Rafa anymore. Are you keeping Gray? What's your thoughts on Everton?
I think at the moment, like, I'm okay to keep him because he's cheap enough to put on my bench, and he's like a strong bench option. I think you probably look to keep your patience until probably game week 26, and if we don't have a return from then, it's an easy switch out, because they've got a couple of nice fixtures coming up. They got Newcastle away, Leeds at home, and then Southampton away in their next sort of 4 fixtures. So I'd probably look to just keep that one player if you have Damari Gray or DCL for the nice fixtures before sort of they turn a little bit more tough. But yeah, for now it's a keep. Like I said, with is it Duncan Ferguson that's in there temporarily? He'll get the new manager bounce, and I'm sure Everton will come out flying.
Yeah, we saw it before when they had the sacking before. He was a caretaker manager, and he got some good results for them. Obviously, Gerrard's Villa, they're looking really good. I think fullbacks in the main position to target if I was going to target Villa options right now. Digne or Cash, I think both of them have their pros and cons. It's just which one you want to go for. For me personally, I said on FPL Penguins stream on Tuesday night, I would prefer Digne, and I still stick by that. I think the set pieces over the long term are a much more benefit to have with him, and he's just so deadly from them as well. Have you swayed your mind? Obviously, I saw you tweet earlier that you're going with Digne. Do you prefer him over Cash now?
Yeah, I think I prefer him for the set pieces, like you said. Like Cash, he's got good attacking numbers, good attacking output, but he's, the assist potential for Digne is so much higher than it was previously with Target at left back. Yes, we could see rotation, but Digne is like good enough qualities for Gerrard to be like, look, you've got to be playing this guy every week.
Yeah, 25 million on a left back. He's not going to not play him every week. Some other standout fixtures. Obviously, United versus West Ham. A lot of us will have assets from both of these teams. What's your thoughts of United? Are you looking to keep the likes of Bruno longer term, or would you be looking to sell these premium United boys?
It all depends really on how they perform next week. Really, it's kind of like a De Bruyne versus Fernandes showdown. Who's going to get sold for Salah? So really, for me personally, it's a case of just waiting and seeing. I can imagine a lot of people are going to go from Fernandes to Salah, though.
Yeah, definitely. Leeds Newcastle as well. Rafinha looked incredible at the weekend. I don't know if you saw him against West Ham, but created so many chances, hit the bar from a free kick as well. Is he on your shopping list?
He would be if I've not got this premium swapping plan in place. Yeah, I think he'd be in consideration for like a replacement for Demarai Gray if I was really getting fed up with him. But yeah, like a lot of people again might move from Trossard to Rafinha this week.
Yeah, it seemed like a smart move. The rest of the fixtures are there, as it says. We obviously spoke about De Bruyne and Foden and the City lads earlier in the stream. Sunday's a busy one. There's 3 2-o'clockers. Arsenal, Burnley. Obviously, both of them haven't played last game week. Do you own any Arsenal boys still? Obviously, Ramsdale, I've noticed from his ownership a couple of weeks ago, it was at 60% effective ownership. Now, I think down at 7%. Could be a good differential to get into the Arsenal defence.
Definitely, and he wouldn't be a differential for long either. So you probably want to move on him quicker and sooner rather than later to really take the full benefit of it, because I think he will still pick up a lot of points.
Yeah, I've got Tierney personally, and I think even him, he's a bargain. I think it's just below 5, and the amount of attacking returns that he gets when he does play is cracking. Palace, Liverpool. Are you expecting much from Jota?
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool traditionally in the past few seasons scored quite well at Palace. I think, it's going to be a tough game for them with how good Palace are playing this season. But yeah, I think Liverpool will score goals, and hopefully Jota's on the end of them.
Yeah, and then we'll move on finally. Chelsea, Spurs. You can even considering assets from either of these teams right now. Obviously, Chelsea blank a ridiculous amount in the next couple of weeks. Are you shipping out Chelsea boys?
I'm wanting to ship out Rudiger because I think like after that game, his price is going to plummet anyway. So I'm kind of just like taking the hit and knowing kind of that I can't get hurt too much by that fixture. If I'm being honest, like Son's not playing, Kane's obviously probably the one that would hurt me the most in terms of rank. But the Chelsea boys aren't that highly owned anymore.
Yeah, definitely agree. We'll move on to finally a last few questions, and then we'll wrap up this stream. We'll try and go live before the deadline tomorrow over on TikTok as well. But make sure you stay tuned to Instagram and Twitter for all those latest updates. We will do, here we go, not related to predictions, but for the League Cup tonight. Wait up, my mic's gone flying. What's your prediction for tonight?
It's at the Emirates, isn't it? So it might be a tough one. You know what? I think we're going to see another draw, and I think we're going to see a penalty shootout. I think on penalties, let's go with Arsenal on penalties.
Going brave. I'm going to go Liverpool. 90 minutes. I think they're going to just, they need to get a trophy this season. I think that's the best chance they're going to have of getting one. Sell Ronaldo or Kane. What's your thoughts on this whole Ronaldo situation as a non-owner? Do you think he'll be playing more? Obviously, he sulked a little bit after coming off yesterday for Maguire. So, what's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I think we're going to see his minutes limited to some degree, but I think he's still going to play a part in every single game going forwards. Like, he's not the sort of player who's going to want to sit and watch. Like, he's been brought in to play matches and to win games for Man United. So, I think he's going to continue to do that. In terms of not owning him, I'm glad I don't own him right now, because it's probably a massive headache for Ronaldo owners. They've got money tied up in him, and Salah coming back on the horizon. It's just not ideal, really. Yeah,
I think it's interesting with Kane as well. He's looking, as you said, in form. For me, if I had to pick one of the two, I would definitely sell Ronaldo, especially with Spurs relying on Kane heavily, as they did last night. What's your thoughts on the United non-premiums? Obviously, we've seen Alanga playing. He's at 4.8 million. Greenwood's playing. Even like Fred got 2 assists this double game week. Would you consider maybe bringing in one of the cheaper boys?
It's an option, but I think, with the way that the almost template is, it's difficult to fit in these boys into the midfield, especially. Like, we've got so many good midfield options. So I think, I'd probably say no, but they're still good options. I think the ones that are more nailed on, obviously, I think Greenwood's had quite a few minutes recently.
Yeah.
So it's obviously that rotation risk as well. Like, United have a lot of players in those positions.
Yeah, Martial's back in the squad as well, so one to prepare for. We'll finish on this one here, Rafinha or Coutinho. I find it quite interesting that everyone's hopping on Coutinho. Obviously, I know that it's massive him coming back to the Premier League, and obviously got the goal against United. But I feel like he'll be eased into the team rather than straight in. I think Gerrard said it after the United game that he's not got the match fitness right now to play full 90. What's your thoughts on Coutinho?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a hype train, like for
Yeah.
a player that, in terms of what we've seen in the last couple of years, is we've not got enough data to sort of say whether he's a good pick or not. Like, if he'd played like a full season before for Barca, we'd have a better judgment and a better idea about, is he going to be a good asset or not? But really, we're in the dark with this. We have no idea how sort of match ready he is. So it's a bit of a risk, in my opinion, but he is a fantastic player.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd definitely go Rafinha. If he's 8.5 million, he's got 40% ownership easily. It's just because he's so cheap. I think that people get turned off by him. So that wraps up Game Week 23 preview. It's the week where I need to overtake Ben. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I've come from sort of 200k and really gone through the ranks in recent weeks. Stayed around 60 to 100k for a long, long while and made that jump up. So if I can do it, anyone can. And on that note, make sure, guys, to like, to subscribe, to follow us on all of our socials. And as usual, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys